Hi, everyone, and welcome to A+ English. I'm Erin.
And I'm Winnie.
So I have a question for you, Winnie.
What's that?
Do you have any hobbies that you do in your free time?
I've got into gardening recently.
Ooh.
I get really excited to see my little plants grow.
That is a nice feeling, actually. That actually sounds like fun.
What about you?
Well, I really like to bake.
You do? What kind of things do you like to bake?
I like making cookies the most, but I also like to bake cakes and pies.
Do you make bread?
Not really. It takes a lot of time to bake bread properly, and I don't have a lot of time.
I think you will be interested in today's article.
Is it about baking?
Yes, it is. Why don't we get started now?
A+ Encyclopedia.
What's a baker's dozen?
请在美句朗读后一起跟着念哦 Let's go!
Hello and welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about baking. The question of the day is, how many is a baker's dozen? A. 11. B. 12. C. 13. Do you have the answer in mind? Now the answer is C. 13. A dozen means 12 things. For example, a dozen eggs means 12 eggs. However, a baker's dozen is different. There are really 13 items in a baker's dozen. Why is that? The phrase, a baker's dozen, started long ago in England. Back then, there were strict rules to help customers. If a customer ordered 12 loaves of bread, the loaves needed to be a certain weight. If they weren't, the bakers could get in big trouble. It was difficult to always get the weight correct. Therefore, bakers would give customers one more loaf of bread. This way, they were always over the weight and never under. start. Start. The party will start at 7 p.m. Don't be late. The party will start at 7 p.m. Don't be late. Loaf. Loaf. Dad bought a loaf of bread and some butter buns from the bakery. Dad bought a loaf of bread and some butter buns from the bakery. Weight. Weight. The weight of this box is 20 kilograms. The weight of this box is 20 kilograms. Difficult. Difficult. The history test this morning was very difficult. I might fail it. The history test this morning was very difficult. I might fail it.
All right, so the question of the day today in our article is, how many is a baker's dozen?
所以今天的题目是 How many is a dozen? 这个太简单了吧，大家应该都知道一打有几个 But a baker's dozen? Baker 虽然没有学过，不过我们看到它是 bake 加 r 表示做烹饪的人，那就是面包师傅啦。
So if I bake, then I'm a baker, right?
Yeah. So how many is a baker's dozen? What are the answers?
Well, let's see. The article gives us 3 answers to choose from. The first is A, 11, then B, 12, and C, 13.
好啦，这 A 11 B 12 C 13这数字大家都没有问题吧 Well, I know a dozen means 12 things.
Me too. That sounds like the best answer.
But I don't think it'll be that easy. Is it?
Well, the article tells us. It says the answer is C, 13.
大家都知道一打12个，现在说一打有13个 That can't be right.
That's not the answer I thought it would say either.
Me neither. Hopefully the article will tell us more, though.
You're right. Let's see what it says. It starts by saying this. A dozen means 12 things.
好啦，大家没有发疯，一打的确是12个没有错。But the article says, for example, a dozen eggs means 12 eggs. So, why did it say a dozen is 13 things?
Well, the article starts by telling us why a baker's dozen is 13. It says, however, a baker's dozen is different.
啊，原来面包师傅的一打跟我们一般人的一打是不同的。It's different from ours.
But let's find out how it's different. The article says there are really 13 items in a baker's dozen.
Still can't believe it, but it's true. 对面包师傅来说，他们的一打真的是13个哦。那我们现在就进入这个今天的 Magic Box 来认识 there are, there is 的用法。
Magic Box 找亮点。
哔哩吧啦哔哩吧啦巴巴巴拉巴，是我啦，最美丽的恋爱少女美环。哎呀，你可能还不知道我们班上呢有一个公主耶。There is a princess in my class. There is a princess in my class. 啊，什么？你想问谁？这不是废话吗？公主除了我还能有谁？我就是要嫁给我的花轮王子来当公主了啦！哎呀，我们中文里面呢说有什么东西，英文里面也是一样哦。你只要用 there is 来开头就是咯。例如呢 there is a princess， 那里有一个公主，在哪里呢？我们在句子后面加上地方 there is a princess in our class， 在我们班上有一个公主啦。哎呀，就是这样，很简单吧。 There is 后面呢，记得我们是加上单数名词，因为呢 is 搭配的呢都是单数的名词了。所以呢，我们来说呢，有很多个人，我们该怎么讲呢？很多的时候呢，我们就把 is 换成复数的 be 动词，也就是 are， 这样子就可以了。所以 there is 后面加单数名词 ，there are 后面加复数名词。例如呢，我们班上呢有很多女生，但是公主呢只有我一个啦。很多女生怎么讲 ？There are many girls in my class.There are many girls in my class. 我们班上呢有很多女生，注意到呢，我们把 is 换成 are， 后面呢接上 many girls， 就是复数名词，有很多的意思咯。OK， 那如果呢你是想要问有没有的时候该怎么问呢 ？OK， 要问问题的时候呢，我们就把 is 和 there 倒装就可以了。我们把 be 动词调到句首，这样子呢就变成一个问句的用法了。假如说你要问很多东西的时候该怎么办呢？简单啦，一样是复数的，我们就把 is 换成 are 就可以啦。Are there students in the school? Are there students in the school? 学校里面有没有学生啊 ？OK， 所以 there is, there are 就是有没有咯。There is 加单数 ，there are 加复数。记得呢，我们后面都是加名词。问句的话呢，我们倒装把 be 动词调到句首就可以咯。
Okay, and we also saw the word item in that sentence. Now, this word is a bit harder, so let's explain it a little bit more.There
are 13 items in a dozen. Item 在这里其实就跟 thing 一样 ，an item 指的就是一件项目、一件商品，所以一打就有13件东西。So it's true, we're not crazy.
No, we're not. But there are 13 items in a baker's dozen. So let's continue on with the article to find out why. And that's exactly what the article asks. Why is that?
对啊，所以到底为什么面包师傅的一打和我们不一样呢？
Okay, so the question is asking, why are there 13 items?
Does it finally tell us?
It does. It says the phrase a baker's dozen started long ago in England.
啊，原来这是从一个 phrase 片语来的。这个片语呢，就是 a baker's dozen. 我们其实学英文就学过很多片语啦。Do you know any other common phrases, Aaron?
I do. In fact, I know some phrases, especially with the word cake.
Cake, yum.
So there's a piece of cake, and that means something is really easy. You can say that test was a piece of cake.
对，如果事情很简单，我们可以说，跟一块蛋糕一样。所以呢 ，a phrase 呢就是指2个以上的单字组成的，通常意思都会有所转换，跟片语里的单字意思都不一样。So this phrase started in England.
Cool. Okay, but now we have to talk about today's first word power word. It's the word start. Now, start is a verb, and it's spelled S-T-A-R-T. Start. Let's find out what it means. The verb start means to do something that you were not doing before and keep doing. It's similar to the word begin. So if something starts, it begins to happen. In an example sentence, we could say, the party will start at 7 p.m. Don't be late. Let's say that one more time. The party will start at 7 p.m. Don't be late.
Start 是个动词，意思就是开始。刚刚 Aaron 老师也有补充另一个意思一样的这个动词叫 begin， 两者是完全可以互换的。不止人可以开始，事物活动自己也可以开始，所以我们就可以说 We'll start the party at 7。也可以呢把事物当主词，也就是例句 The party will start at 7。派对7点开始。如果是开始做什么事情，我们可以用 start to do something， 或是 start doing something。For example, it starts to rain, or it starts raining. 开始下雨了。
Okay, so this phrase, a baker's dozen, started happening a long time ago. What else does the article tell us? It says, back then, there were strict rules to help customers.
所以这句片语从古老的英国开始流行的，在当时 back then 有些规矩可以帮助客人 and those were strict rules.
That's right. So that sentence also used the word strict. Strict is an adjective.Strict
就是形容词，表示严格的。Everyone had to follow them. 每个店家都必须遵守这些规则。How strict were they?
Well, let's find out a little bit more about them. The article tells us, if a customer ordered 12 loaves of bread, the loaves needed to be a certain weight.
到底有多严格呢？比如说，如果顾客要12条吐司，总重量是有个标准的。So we use a loaf for bread?
That's right. Okay, so let's look at this second word power word. It's the word loaf. Loaf is a noun and it's spelled L-O-A-F when it's a singular noun. But in plural, as we saw in the sentence, it's spelled L-O-A-V-E-S, loaves. All right, let's find out more about loaf. Loaf is the word we use to talk about bread that is in a long, a round, or a square shape. We usually use it like this, a loaf of bread. We can usually cut a loaf into several pieces of bread.In an example sentence, we could say, Dad bought a loaf of bread and some butter buns from the bakery. Let's say that one more time. Dad bought a loaf of bread and some butter buns from the bakery.
通常这个 loaf 都是用在吐司这种长的一块面包这种，或者杂粮。一块面包可以再分切成好几片 pieces。我觉得吐司最好想象啦，尤其如果你去卖场买，就会买一大串，里面有好几十片，这种我们就会用 a loaf 当作量词。比如说例句就是老爸去买了一条吐司和奶油面包。Butter on the bread. Yum, yum.So, 回到文章 12 loaves must have a certain weight. What do they have to be?
Well, before we find out, let's learn more about this word weight. It's today's third word power word. Weight is a noun and it's spelled W-E-I-G-H-T. Weight kind of looks like 8 with a W. And let's find out what this word means.So the word weight means how heavy a thing or person is. If someone is 60 kg, you can say that that person's weight is 60 kg. Another example could be, the weight of this box is 20 kilograms. Let's say that one more time. The weight of this box is 20 kilograms.Weight
就是重量，比如大家开学前几周都要量身高体重，或是填基本资料时也会看 weight 表示你几公斤重，还有 height 就是表示你多高。当然重量不只是指人的重量体重，也可以是物品多重，像是例句就是这箱有20公斤重。那如果你要问人家你多重，你也可以去掉最后的 t 变成一个动词 weigh. How much do you weigh? But of course don't ask people this.Unless you're a doctor.
That's right. It's considered quite rude to ask that question. Okay, so the strict rule was that all loaves of bread had to be a certain weight. What if they were the wrong weight, though? The article says, if they weren't, or if they weren't the right weight, the bakers could get in big trouble.
所以文章是说以前人家买了12条面包，一定要多重，但如果你偷工减料 then you are in big trouble, 就是你麻烦大了。
Uh-oh, big trouble could mean that their shop would close.
Whoa, that's pretty big trouble. But it must be hard to have the right weight for every loaf.
Well, this strict rule made things hard for the bakers.You're right. The article says it was difficult to always get the weight correct.
这里我们看到 it was ADJ to do something 这样的句型其实非常好用。大家想想看，这里的 it 究竟是指什么呢？其实这里的 it 就是个虚主词，它不是指面包，也不是指重量，而是指后面的这件事情 to always get the weight correct 要永远达到正确的重量，这件事情是非常 difficult 首先，先来学学 difficult 是什么意思呢？
Okay, so our last word power word for today is that word, difficult. Let's learn more about it. It's an adjective, and it's spelled D-I-F-F-I-C-U-L-T. Difficult. So difficult means that something is not easy to do or understand. It's another way to say that something is hard to do. For me, math is difficult, but English is easy.
No.
Sometimes. All right. An example sentence could be, the history test this morning was very difficult. I might fail it. Let's use that in a sentence one more time. The history test this morning was very difficult. I might fail it.
Difficult 是困难的，或者是我们也可以用另外一个形容词 hard 表示不容易的。比如例句是历史考试很难 was very hard， 我可能会考不及格。所以回到文章，就是指每次做面包都要达到正确的重量是非常困难的。To always get the weight correct was difficult。但这样是会觉得 was 前面好长，后面又好短。这时候我们就可以借 it was 这样的开头，让句子更好读。
I see. So bakers would often get the bread's weight wrong. Now, this could cause a lot of trouble. The article explains what they did. It says, therefore, bakers would give customers one more loaf of bread.
所以啦，为了不要遇上麻烦，面包师傅干脆就多送一条吐司。Then it would never be under the correct weight.
That's right. So instead of giving people 12, the customers would get one more, or 13. The article tells us why. It says, this way, they were always over the weight and never under.
如此一来，他们就永远不会低于要求的重量啦。It was probably easier to give one loaf free, so they wouldn't ever meet any trouble.
What a simple trick. And that's why the baker's dozen is 13.
难怪他们的一打会是13，免费附赠的这一条，让他们可以省掉很多的麻烦啦。
Well, that's all the time we have to talk about this cool phrase today, but let's get to our review time now before we finish up and say goodbye.
Wait for it. It's review time. 复习时间到喽。
All right, Winnie. So for review time today, we're going to fill in the blank.
This is hard.
No, it's easy. All right. So we have 4 word power words today. And I have 4 sentences here. And if you get them all right, maybe I'll even give you a bonus question.
I don't want a bonus question.
I think you'll do fine. All right, are you ready for number 1?
Maybe.
Okay, well, let's try anyways. Number 1, please go to the market and buy 2 of bread.
Bread. 我知道2条吐司 right? Loaf?
Not quite.
Loaves.
Loaves. How do you spell it?
I know loaf, L-O-A-F.
This one has a special spelling.
要变成复数 L-O-A-V-E-S.
You got it. All
Yay.
right. Okay, number 2. My sister thinks writing stories is but I think it's easy.
Writing stories is difficult?
That's right. We had a clue in there with the word easy. Gave us a clue. We knew it was difficult. Okay, number 3 says, are you ready? The game will blank in 5 minutes.
游戏要在5分钟后开始 Start?
That's right.
Yay.
The game will start in 5 minutes. Okay, number 4. What is the blank of the box? It is almost 12 kilograms.
Kilograms. I know this one. Weight.
Good. So,
Yay.
Winnie, you know how to look for the clues in these sentences. Now, let's see if you can get the bonus one. My teacher taught us the blank, not my cup of tea. It means you don't like something very much.
What do I get for this bonus anyway?
A special hug.
Not my cup of tea. 不是我的茶。Taught us the phrase?
That's right. Lots of English phrases in our article today. But that's all the time we've got for today's article. So for A+ English, I'm Erin.
And I'm Winnie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
A+ Encyclopedia.
What's a baker's dozen? Hello and welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about baking. The question of the day is, how many is a baker's dozen? A. 11. B. 12. C. 13. Do you have the answer in mind? Now the answer is C. 13. A dozen means 12 things. For example, a dozen eggs means 12 eggs. However, a baker's dozen is different. There are really 13 items in a baker's dozen. Why is that? The phrase, a baker's dozen, started long ago in England. Back then, there were strict rules to help customers. If a customer ordered 12 loaves of bread, the loaves needed to be a certain weight. If they weren't, the bakers could get in big trouble. It was difficult to always get the weight correct. Therefore, bakers would give customers one more loaf of bread. This way, they were always over the weight and never under. Start. Start. The party will start at 7 p.m. Don't be late. The party will start at 7 p.m. Don't be late. Loaf. Loaf. Dad bought a loaf of bread and some butter buns from the bakery. Dad bought a loaf of bread and some butter buns from the bakery. Weight. Weight. The weight of this box is 20 kilograms. The weight of this box is 20 kilograms. Difficult. Difficult. The history test this morning was very difficult. I might fail it. The history test this morning was very difficult. I might fail it.